We have had Spawn being teased for a very long time, and everyone's super excited, and then lo and behold, he's not going to be playable until March of next year. And a lot of fans are understandably disappointed because they thought he'd be coming a lot sooner. You really shouldn't tease the character half a year in advance unless fans already know it's going to take that long. So if you do want to tease these characters to promote the game and increase sales, you should at least be honest about when these characters are coming out. How's it going, everyone? My name is True Underdog, and forgive me for not wearing a nerdy shirt today. It is just too hot in Texas right now and I simply cannot handle it. So yesterday I made a rather long-winded video about the fans' overall reception to the Kombat Pack reveal trailer. So today I wanted to make a video about my personal opinions on the Kombat Pack reveal trailer instead of everybody else's, though I'm also going to touch on that as well. And most of what I have to say is fairly positive about the game, though I do have some minor issues here and there that I want to make known. So first up, let's talk about the Joker. I think that has the community the most upset, or at least the most split. I saw a lot of positive comments about him actually on my previous video, so it seems like a lot of people can't wait to play him. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm excited to play him as well. He's not my go-to character, I don't prefer him over any returning Mortal Kombat character, but as far as guest characters go, he's not that bad, and I know a lot of people do prefer Ash. I had this weird sneaking suspicion that Ash might still be coming, but only in Kombat Pack 2. I really do think they may have switched the characters. I think they intended to have Ash in the Kombat Pack 1 initially, and that's why you hear the chainsaw in the original teaser trailer. However, at some point they decided to switch things and do Joker instead, likely because he does have a movie on the way. And that theory does make sense for the most part. There is one minor issue, but I want to touch on that a bit later in the video. Once again, as far as Joker goes, I'm pretty excited to see what his gameplay's like. I just hope he doesn't play like Joker from Injustice. When Raiden came out in Injustice 2, I was very disappointed that he played almost the exact same as Mortal Kombat X. I didn't want that. If you want to have a returning character from a different series, that's completely fine in my book, and I do like the reference and the cross-promotion, but I do wish they would play entirely differently. So when Joker is finally playable in Mortal Kombat 11, I hope he's entirely different from how he plays in Injustice. And judging by his wicked cane sword, that is likely to be the case. I'm actually very excited about that weapon in particular, because in Mortal Kombat 11, it's very common for nearly every character to wield a weapon of some kind. Not for every single attack, but every now and then for a couple of strings they do bring out a weapon. So for example, Raiden has his staff, Liu Kang has his nunchucks, and Joker has the cane sword, which has me pretty excited. I will admit his appearance did catch me off guard initially and I wasn't entirely on board, but at the same time it's a very different look and I find that somewhat appealing. He's a bit buffer than the average Joker, and he looks a little bit younger, a bit cleaner. I like to imagine he's a Joker from a different universe. There's tons of multiverse theories in DC Comics, so I just imagine it's a different Joker who's a bit more clean cut, he cares a bit more about his appearance, and he goes to the gym a lot more. Once again, as long as he's fun to play, I don't really mind him. Would I preferred somebody else from Mortal Kombat? Yes, but once again, I typically don't prefer guest characters, with Spawn being the rare exception in this case. So next up, let's talk about the release dates, because that also ruffled a lot of feathers in the Mortal Kombat community. Now I do understand why the dates are so spaced apart, but at the same time they could have done a bit better marketing these characters, because a lot of people have been expecting Sindel for a very long time. We saw her character render before anybody else, even Nightwolf, and now we're being told she's coming out after the Terminator. So that was a bit of a bad decision in terms of marketing, and the same could also be said for Spawn. We have had Spawn being teased for a very long time. Even Todd McFarlane saying, hey look, here's the character, he's coming, at some point he's going to be in the game, and everyone's super excited, and then lo and behold, he's not going to be playable until March of next year. And a lot of fans are understandably disappointed because they thought he'd be coming a lot sooner. You really shouldn't tease the character half a year in advance unless fans already know it's going to take that long. So if you do want to tease these characters to promote the game and increase sales, you should at least be honest about when these characters are coming out. Don't get me wrong, I do understand why Sindel is coming out later than Terminator. Terminator has a movie on the way, and as a result, he is going to be released around the same time. You're going to be playing Terminator the same week you're going to be watching it in the theaters. That makes a lot of sense. I understand the correlation and the cross-promotion, but at the same time, you did reveal Sindel months ago, so a lot of people are understandably disappointed that we have to wait all the way until November. And honestly, I think the only reason we're waiting until November is because Warner Brothers doesn't have anything else planned for the other guest characters during that time. So in other words, both the Joker and Spawn have nothing happening in terms of media during that month, and that's why Sindel is coming out then. Either that, or they just wanted at least one returning character in between all the guest characters, instead of having all of them in a row. However, here is one thing I find a bit puzzling. there's nothing happening for Joker in January. His film is actually coming out months prior to that. So I'm guessing maybe he's just nowhere near finished, or possibly there's something else Joker related coming out during that time period. Maybe Gotham has a new season happening, or there's some sort of spin-off film, or there's an animated film about Joker. Any number of things could be why he's going to be released in January, or of course, once again, they're just nowhere near finishing him. And the same could also be said for Spawn. I understand why they're doing him last. You want to save the best for last, I do understand that. However, at the same time, it does have me thinking, is there something in the works for Spawn, and if so, does it have anything to do with his March release date? Now obviously the film isn't going to be out in March if they are working on a film, but perhaps some sort of teaser trailer, or you can pre-order the tickets at that time. Any number of things could be happening in March along with Spawn's release date, and I'm wondering if that might be the case. If not, they simply want to save the best for last, and he's coming after Joker. That would honestly make just as much sense, but I'm hoping something Spawn related is happening besides just his release date. I really want to see something cool with Spawn, whether it's a movie or an animated film or a comic, any number of things. I love Spawn and I want more Spawn media. So last but not least, let's talk about Kombat Pack 2. Because I did touch on it a little bit earlier when I said that Ash was likely switched with Joker, and I am still holding on to that theory. I think Ash was meant to be in Kombat Pack 1, but then somewhere down the line NetherRealm said no, or Warner Brothers said no, we have to switch it because something Joker related is coming out and we want to do some cross promotion. That's entirely possible. I really don't think the chainsaw was just a troll. I think Ash Williams still might actually be in the game, along with Shiva and everybody else on that leaked roster. They're just going to be pushed back to Kombat Pack 2. Now here's my first concern. It is going to take a very long time for Kombat Pack 2 to come out. Either that, or they're currently working on it at the same time as Kombat Pack 1, and they're gonna pull a Mortal Kombat X on us, where they release all the characters at once simultaneously. And that's awesome if you're just a player, but if you're a YouTuber, that can be hell on earth, because you don't know which character to do a video for first, and if you have a day job like me, there's only so much time you have to commit to each character, and you want to make 5 videos just in one day, but you can't, and you know you can't, so you have to space it out. You got to prioritize, and it can be very scary because you know that every day, every hour you're not making a video on that character, somebody else is, and they're gonna beat you to the punch, and it just makes you very concerned and stressed out, anxiety ridden. So even though it's very great for players to have access to all the characters at once, it can be just a nightmare for a YouTuber like myself who likes to make tech videos explaining how these characters work and helping you understand how they play and how to utilize them effectively. It can be very tough for somebody like me when the characters all come out at once. I think Dragon Ball FighterZ actually does it the best when they release them 2 at a time, because that way not everybody is playing the same character when it comes out. They did something similar with other games like Tekken, and I think that's a much healthier practice, because that way the average player, even those who haven't downloaded those DLC characters, aren't just fighting one after the other after the other. So for example, when Spawn comes out and you go online, you're going to be facing nothing but spawns. Even if you haven't bought the character, you're going to be fighting spawn after spawn after spawn after spawn. Whereas in Kombat Pack 2, that wasn't the case because every character came out at once, or for Tekken 7, they released 2 characters at a time sometimes even more than that, and that can be much better because that way you are still fighting DLC characters, to be sure, but there's still some variety there instead of the same character over and over and over again. So NetherRealm, if one of your employees is watching this, and you do want to release some characters at the same time, just please don't do all of them at once. Do 3 and then 3, or 2 at a time, 3 different dates, that's entirely fine. Just please don't do everybody at the same time, because that can be very difficult for somebody like me. Or feel free to do that, I just don't recommend spacing them so far out this time. Instead, it might be a much better idea to just announce the Kombat Pack 2 trailer later on. That way the characters are already mostly done, and you can release 1 every single month, or 2 every single month. That would be fine as well. At the very least, I don't recommend teasing your characters out of order, because that just sets people up for disappointment, and it's almost guaranteed to not turn out well reception-wise. But at any rate, that's about it for my thoughts and opinions on this trailer, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like down below. It really does help my channel out a ton. And then while you're down there, please post your thoughts on this reveal trailer as well. I can't wait to read them. And finally, why not keep that combo going by subscribing and ringing that bell? That way you never miss a future video. Make sure to come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.